Hey everybody, super excited as I'm sure the rest of you are about the new patch that just rolled out last night and has a lot of the changes that I've actually been asking for on the Reddit forums. Actually, my last post called a ton of this, so I'm really excited to jump into this with you guys. I'm just going to chat about it all and then show the stats here. So we're just going to go in order of the patch notes. If you haven't already checked it out, you can go see that online. The first thing they did was the stun baton. I feel like this probably didn't do anything, to be frank. The problem with the stun baton isn't the damage. It was already really cool for damage. Um, the problem lies in the animation of the charge attack. It is not a true combo in the vast majority of cases because of the extremely long animation. This is basically the dagger, so the light attack will now probably trump the dagger in some fashion, which I guess is useful because the dagger has the charge attack. But this is still way too slow even with the Kakaku, so I don't expect to see that other than just being another simple melee punish equivalent to the dagger. I don't expect to see this get any sort of like dramatic usage now. You're definitely gonna be tempted to try to get the stun baton in there, but yeah, I don't know that it's going to make a lot of sense here when you got 752 times 3 as a reliable punish 2100. Yes, this has better direct hit punish, but again, you're taking a risk to try to make that actually stick. The light wave change was also something else that I was saying needed to be done again because it still was getting outclassed by the redshift. The cooling wasn't enough. I had asked for like some sort of other gimmick, like a mini stun or something else to make the moonlight just use case different. In a sense, other than like not just trying to make them equal in damage because it would kind of be irrelevant at that point just to have two of the exact same weapons. But the Moonlight got a energy specialization adjustment. So realistically, I think that we're not going to be using the VE20B very often. It's probably going to be the VE20C. So that 28 energy specialization over 100, I think that gets cut in half. But maybe charge up time is also affected. That's something else that we should take a look at. Let me this actually works really, and they also fixed the Kosawa, by the way, which I'll get to in a sec, but that makes my Archangel build super exciting to use. Let's go with, oh no, I won't be able to use all, let's just clear the Coral Missile here and slap on the Redshift. We'll jump into test. I'm wondering if the charge up time also got faster. If so, then awesome. So let's check them. This might have been another way to kind of affect the tech of the weapon, or the animation and interaction of the weapon. Okay, that is fine. Try this. Doesn't look like any change here. Okay, so charge up time has not been affected. Ah, that's a shame. That would have been a really cool and notable difference there. Okay, so basically just got a little bit of damage bonus. I feel like most builds that are going to be running melee, though, are going to be running for capacity, not just pure hyper efficient energy. So realistically, you're getting the 28. I'm just going to round up here and assume this is. Well, I can't remember off the top of my head if it's half this or if it's actually 20% more damage. But if we take a look here at the Moonlight, its regular slash is now, let's see, 1574 total versus, okay, so 14. No, so Coral's still better in the light slashes. Let's check the charged. If they have high resistances, I bet you that the Coral's still going to outpace it. But we've got 2310 times 1 point, what is it again? 25? Or 28, yeah, 1.28. So you're looking at 3,784. Okay, that's really good for a charged attack. Versus 16 for. Okay, so now the charge attack will probably, if you go for energy specialization, will probably outpace the Coral even against very high resistances. They can get close to, I think it's close to 50% resistance if they're max, and so they'll be roughly tied at that point. But in general, you actually have an incentive to try to run the Moonlight. Because not every build will be super heavy. Now, granted, the punish on this is still stronger, so because of that direct hit modifier. So I feel like this is now better before the punish, or maybe just more as a like flexible use case. Like you want to use it not only as the punish, but take advantage of the cooling and get more use case out of it before you get punished as well as the punish. The Harris got an increased attack power and projectile speed. So let's take a look at this guy. I didn't really feel like this changes too much. The charged attack was right around here anyways, I believe. The projectile speed going faster is, again, not really a huge. I already felt like it was a quite reliable punish and a very difficult dodge. Maybe this will hurt kites a little bit more, but in terms of the rest of us, I don't really think so. Feels like it'll just be, you know, just slightly, ever so slightly harder to dodge and ever so slightly a bit more damage. The attache, I don't think they adjusted this in the way it was needed. The problem was actually that it's just impact is really slow. So according to the patch notes, they increased the direct hit adjustment and the projectile speed. The projectile speed might help, I guess, given that it's meant to be a bit of a longer range, um, like kiting assault rifle, very close to the assault rifles. So we're looking at 143 ideal, 272 effective, and 62. So here we got 65, bit more damage, faster rate of fire, and the ideal range is still better. I still feel like this is going to be underwhelming. Yeah, the direct hit punish, yeah, I don't think anything here has been changed in any drastic way, so let's not get our hopes up on that. I've seen some people commenting that this SMG here has seen a significant bump up. Again, it's the math of it though doesn't really show that it's terribly effective compared to other options. So, like I don't know if we compare this to the Ludlow, it's the 51 times 4, 8 rounds per minute. So basically, you get 2 shots per second, and we got 50. So basically, 100 attack power per second and 50. Or no, sorry, scratch that. That was misstated. There's 4 bullets. 400 damage per second. That's pretty good, actually. A lot of them float around 300. Yeah, okay. So impact 48 times 4. And then we're getting about just under 400 impact per second. Again, it's just kind of like middling. It's where a lot of the other ones are now. So I feel like this one has just basically been met up to par with the Ludlow. Okay, so they've also adjusted the Sampu. I don't feel like any of the changes here have really made this thing stand out. It just basically is closer to the other pistols. They did the damage buff that I was at. I wanted to make this one the best damage per second pistol, the Coquelet the best impact per second accumulative over a longer period of time, the Ducat the best effective range and ideal range pistol, so it'd be like below the Coquelet in stats, but you could be outside of a Celis range and still get it. And then the Viento would remain the best burst impact pistol, which is, it still is, but they've slashed the impact and accumulative impact, most importantly taking 20 off of the impact, because this pistol doesn't decay to accumulative impact in its first magazine usually, because they can mag dump it so fast. So the reload time saw a small nerf. I was hoping for more. I was hoping for around 4 to 5 seconds, which would just force evasive builds to actually be evasive builds. They wouldn't be able to just mag dump and then punish and then not have to worry about evading at all. But looks like they're going to do a blend here. So I actually didn't even really mind the impact numbers before, because realistically you'd probably dodge at least one salvo and they wouldn't hit 1900, but you'd be almost staggered, which is scary. But yeah, slashing it down, looks like the threshold will be around 1750 impact on the first magazine, and then you'll have 2.5 seconds to mitigate it. I think this balance is probably enough. They still can reach a really high threshold on that second magazine and stagger 90% of builds, unless you're like a tank or something. But again, if you're running a shield or if you're managing to if you're trying to just dodge a couple of those needles, you should be able to survive into the third mag, which is dramatic. It's basically a 50% reduction or sorry, it's a 50% extension in terms of your time to survive before getting staggered. So I'll take it. Not as strong as I'd wanted, but I'll take it. After the Viento, actually, boy, I skipped ahead here a little bit. They also boosted the Javelin Alpha, basically making it a better punish grenade launcher now, which is fine because it wasn't really getting used in that sense very often. Let's see here, 1375. Let's see what the total damage punish on this is now. It's actually got surprising impact. I did not remember using this that much. Adjusted the hitbox so that enemies staggered by the projectile will not be released from the hit stun. That's good. So you can actually chain this into follow-up combos, which again would help the build that I'm running right now. If I want to run that. The grenade launcher, Go Chen, decreased weight and EN load. Fine. It just was not being utilized because it's too expensive. No dramatic changes here. The Dizzy's got an interesting one. So the detonation range has been reduced. I actually don't know what it is, so maybe we should give this a test here. This could potentially become a very good zoning tool for midweight, keeping or forcing people to stay out of midweight. Let me see the max range that I can hit. Let's do an AC actually. See, let's just go with a very over-exaggerated version. So effective range 265. I think that's the range that it's going to detonate now. But let's try 300 and see if I can hit him. Actually, what's the radius? Radius is 90. Okay, so I could technically go to 355 then. Let's see if I can hit him with this still. Nice. Can I hit him from further? Or is that literally the peak? Okay, yeah, so 355 is now your max range, and I guess you've got a 90 meter radius, so you can go another 180 meters less, so I guess that would be a sub 200, wouldn't it? Or, let me just do the math again. So I'm doing this all on the fly. Let's see here. 355 minus 180, so 175. Okay, so wow, that's a really generous explosion. You're gonna have to move laterally then, I guess, to evade this. It's gonna be very reliable at detonating on people at a lot of different ranges. I wonder if I can. Let me just try something here. I wonder if this angle is sharp enough to avoid soft locking and hitting the ground. No, not quite. Okay, so. Good. I guess if you're in really close though, like this range, I think it's going to be super easy to keep that 180 meter reliable. Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be very scary now. I should make a build with this. That would be fun. What else do we got in the patch notes? So Iridium increased projectile speed, fine. Just more reliability, no stat adjustments though. Stun bomb launcher, I saw these notes. Increased attack power, decreased load time, increased projectile speed for regular fire. I think that this thing ought to have been a mix of impact and status build up. Let's try running 2 and see what happens. Oh, I think I overshot it. So we're looking at about 300 impact. The accumulative impact is still terrible. That's kind of what I was hoping for, is the stun guns have no real effective, reliable accumulative impact. I feel like this is... Yeah, okay, so I don't really think this is... Especially with the nerf to status effects in general, this thing's still trash tier. Okay. Until they adjust the accumulative impact to be something actually threatening in terms of... this weapon should have been impact and status build-up. As of now, it is... irrelevant, still garbage. Too bad at what it is supposed to be doing the two things of. It's not, doesn't shine in any of them. Okay, so that leaves us with the laser handgun. Basically, they just improved the charge shot. I still think this is risky for laser builds because you don't typically want to be doing firing stance weapons when you're running, especially a light laser weapon. You want to be keeping your space. Can I move while doing it? No, they didn't fix any of that. I mean, it's good for a punish, I guess. Now you'll have like a pretty dramatic option to punish people given those buffs, but nothing major. I still think that other laser weapons will be more standout because they aren't going to be needing to do the firing stance to get all that damage. Kosawa got its major fix, like I mentioned. I was really excited to see this one because this helps my Moonlight combo follow-up be more reliable. I was having a lot of issues with the Redshift and the Moonlight not successfully stagger extending, despite that in theory being possible. So my original combo was to use the Coral Missile here. Let me just slap on my regular build. So the intention was to have the Coral Missile tracking once it gets close. Oh, well, I'm gonna die right here. Let's also turn on the enemy, actually. see if I can true combo this Moonlight at a further range now than I used to. Okay, perfect. It does track a lot better now. That's awesome. We can actually use the Kosawa as a defensive cannon now, which is what I thought it was always great for. Yes, it is good for a stagger punish, but you don't typically want that long cooldown unless it's only needing to be used infrequently in that style in the match. So yeah, make a build with it as your basically your disincentive to rush you down, because they're going to take that Kosawa with its reliable beam. And now you can stagger extend with the Moonlight, which means this Coral Missile is going to be hitting on this build of mine a lot. Check out the video earlier if you're curious on how it works. It's called the Arc in brackets Abyss Angel. So yeah, I think this combo has now become very deadly. I wonder if I should also experiment with the Moonlight on here now and take less punish. You know what? I should. As much as I hate to say it, I think I probably would get more utility in being able to use this one more frequently, and I only really need the stagger extend. On the flip side, I'm not getting as big of a combo with the coral slashes being true damage and the higher direct hit modifier, but I feel like that's almost irrelevant. Kind of ruins the aesthetic, though. I liked having a red blade. Anyways, very happy to see that change. They helped me out a lot on that. Up next, this is really unfortunate timing. They put a small nerf to the handheld 4-cell missile launcher here. It used to be 3 seconds reload time, and they've also decreased the cumulative impact a little bit. It doesn't seem like all that much to me, though. So I haven't updated my last build video, but in case you hadn't seen the comments, I actually did end up settling on swapping for this missile over this one, just for the lack of needing to charge for one, but more importantly, the reload time and homing lock time allowed me to consistently keep the stagger on kiting builds. So like I would chase them down while A-Bing and keep the missile peppering. Then once I got close, then I'd switch to Zimmerman and just coral punish. There was no need to do the stagger extension for them because they're so fragile. I don't need that extra damage. I just need to make sure they aren't recovering impact. But it looks like they've nerfed it. I don't think I'm going to change this though. This still seems solid. There could be an argument for the split missiles, but the problem is how slow these actually end up moving towards a target because of the delayed detonation animation. So when they're this doesn't really do it justice because you don't really see the slow missile moving in at longer ranges. But I might experiment this and update it. A fine nerf. I mean, these were getting used a lot by missile kites for a reason. The pulse missile launcher increased charge and reload time, so this one's been even more thoroughly nerfed. Again, I don't really see too much of a change. These seem like very, very gentle nerfs, so nothing really to comment on that. Stun needle launcher got more damage. That's fine. That thing probably lagged a little bit given how heavy it was for damage pound punishes. The LCB got decreased rapid fire and reduced hitbox. Both of those were well needed nerfs, so hallelujah. What's the firing rate? Rapid fire now is 0.3. That still seems really fast. Let me test this out. And we'll put on some heavier legs here. Oh, okay, that's much better. Alright. Did I read that? I mean, I thought that said 0.3 seconds, but that doesn't look like 0.3 seconds to me. Huh. I still think that the damage on these is a little over the top, but I won't know until I test it, but we'll see if the hitbox change was enough to make it reasonably available, even if it's just on prediction, like you know they're about to use it. LCD increased charge attack power, reduced scattering. Okay, so they've basically added a choke to this laser shotgun, which I think is probably a good idea. It felt like he was missing too many of the bolts most often. That looks much better. Okay, awesome. I like that change. I don't use them personally, but I feel like that makes an interesting addition to the game. Detonating missile launcher, Javelin Beta, increased blast radius. Each missile fired now follows the same guidance angle. Okay, so this works out indirectly exactly what I wanted, which was that the Javelin Beta was not strong enough to combo a lot of the tankier builds in the game. So I was asking for an impact lift. They did it the other way. They just nerfed tank stability, which I'm going to get to in a second. I'm very excited for. But they've decreased the guidance, so I bet that also helps nerf its ability with kiters. I thought that it was getting way too much use as a kiters missile, when in theory this was meant to be the CQC missile when you look at all of its stats and its mechanics. One single instance of damage and impact, making reliable combo calculations, instead of having like to worry about some of the missiles missing. Very short range, 360. I feel like it could even be brought down. I would have liked the homing lock brought down by half a second, and then the reload time added a second, but c'est la vie. But reducing the guidance will also nerf kiters, but not nerf melee builds, because we're going to be using mini stuns to hold them in place for it anyway, so it doesn't really matter if the guidance has been changed. So I'll take this. Everything in here is exactly what I hoped would be calibrated, which is to make the Javelin Beta better at comboing. So it has had that done. Laser orbits, increased attack. Let's see here, it's a couple different changes to this one. Increased attack power, cooling, projectile speed, reduced interval before cooling. Okay, so they've basically just give it a general stat buff. I would have much preferred if they increased the time between intervals. So I didn't actually comment that much on the laser orbit, but I wish that the Huxley was better for building up a base amount of impact. Not a lot, but would just sustain a certain amount, effectively being like a stability flat reduction as long as you're in range of enemies. So like if you get close to them, then their stability gets reduced by, call it 400 or 300. I wish that the laser orbit functioned as a stability preservation, so like, or sorry, impact preservation, so like they didn't decay into the accumulative impact while the laser orbit was on. So it would really work well with laser weapons by making it so that a lot of them, which have very good impact but not great accumulative impact, it would have allowed you to combo laser weapons a little better. In particular, I was hoping for like things like the laser sword and the laser dagger, which is another build I haven't published, but that's what I was hoping to get to. So you could imagine if you could actually keep that 1100 impact there on their light attack and then swap into another laser weapon. Oh well, could wish for a million things, can't get them all. Moving on from the laser orbit, we got some general frame part buffs. The Bashful arms got improved AP, or no, sorry, these are the legs. So we've got, let's take a look here. A lot of the legs just got general jump height bonuses. I don't know if I'm actually going to notice that. I mean, yeah, that's nice. I guess it allows you to jump over mechs and get like a, basically now we can jump over other opponents as a melee build and take advantage of what a lot of Viento users do, which is to like just hop over you and create camera issues and like tracking issues. So Basho got it, Melander got increased AP and jump height, decreased weight. Melander, I can't really say I've used these, but I mean, I'll take it. Tianquang, I like how they made the heavy legs a lot more punishing to use. They were getting way too much usage for way too little cost in everything from speed and just like they got way too much defense for how fast they can move. Big one here for me is, I'm just gonna, like, most of the legs here are all getting the buffs that we wanted, which is a lot of the bipeds. I did like the crawlers because they do have excellent EN usage. Like this build, I have two different versions. One with like the coral blade build. I mean, I have one with these legs and one with the ephemera legs. I ended up settling on the ephemera mostly just because of the aesthetic. I'm not gonna lie. They do technically have a bit of a speed assistance that's really nice, but yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know if I can part with the aesthetic when I've already got so committed to it. So I'm gonna reset my build here. So 302. Wow, the EN efficiency seems really high. Do I have something wrong here? What is going on? Why is my EN efficiency so crazy high? The crawler legs, they also get, no, they didn't get any help with EN efficiency. Am I using the right weapons? Zimmerman. Yeah, this all looks right. I have 9,500 EN. Oh, I have the wrong generator on. Sorry guys, that was too good to be true. There we go. Okay. 4,200, that's more appropriate. And then compare that to my normal legs here. 37. Okay, so you squeeze a little bit more speed, a little bit more stats. you trade quite a bit of VN efficiency though. That's kind of why I think the crawler legs are technically better, but at the same time, I love the aesthetic of these legs. I like, maybe not, my paint job's not on it right now, but say Livy. I'm just going to skip past the rest of the legs. These all look roughly the same. A lot of the bipeds just got lifts to jump height, either AP, etc. These ones just got jump height. Let's see how this feels. Yeah, that's not bad. It'll make for some interesting text now with melee, and melee builds now being able to hop over a lot of other builds. Reverse joints also got a lot more stable. Well, I shouldn't say a lot more stable. Let me actually check. I'm assuming that's what they did. Oh yeah. Wow. Spring chicken is now as stable as a lot of the biped legs. Holy moly. Wow, this is actually shocking. Okay, so stability on reverse joints now is only about 100 less than a lot of the legs on average. So like if you compare heavier legs to heavier reverse joints, maybe 150. Okay, that is interesting. This is going to involve some tactical adjustments for melee builds at least. Well, for everyone. I'm just more thinking about my playstyle, but we're now going to need to treat them more like biped builds in terms of how much stability they have. So no more free combos with just landing one pulse blade into Zimmerman. Well, you'll still be able to get that, but the odds of you getting a perfect Zimmerman might be trickier. Interesting. Okay, so expect that then with these. That's a pretty big buff. Not gonna lie, that's my prediction here. Is reverse joints just got a lot more stable. Okay, I'm gonna move past the reverse joints here. What else do we have? Now just onto the stuff that I really cared about. Lamb legs got nerfed, which is exactly what I hoped. They didn't get as much of an EN nerf as I had been aiming for. I feel like the ability to hover up here is still way too long. I'll just get some kicks up here. I want to see what this looks like. 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. Okay, never mind. This looks pretty substantial. I think that we'll be able to expect lamb legs to now need to come down much earlier than 1 minute. I'd have to guess maybe around the 40-second mark now. Somebody else can test that. I don't want to fill the video with testing, but that's my prediction. Lamb kites now have 2 windows of vulnerability in the fight when they have to drop down. And, oh, I forgot to check what's the coast speed now. 380. Okay, that might have been too severe because a lot of the lightweight bipeds move at this speed. I guess technically they'll be A-being and burning battery to catch up high, so yeah, that's remains to be seen. I think that might have even been a little bit too strong of a nerf. They kind of needed the speed. They needed to have like absolute dominance while they were flying. And I don't like them, but that is what they were meant to be, right? It was just a jet that it has domination while it's in the air and has enough energy to control the fight. But we'll see. I think lambs have been hurt pretty harshly. That's my prediction on that. Flugel generator got some buffs here. I did ask for a lot of these boosters to get a bit more fleshed out. The generalists were just way too bad at everything. Like they were good, but they just weren't good enough. The boost, I think, on this got lifted. Increased thrust, melee attack thrust. Okay, wow, this one has become the new Gridwalker, second best in melee thrust. Holy. Look at that melee attack thrust. I think I might make melee builds with this. This will give you the ability to dodge a lot more efficiently and with a better thrust. And better boost. Wow, I think this is the new melee build booster, guys. This might outright defeat the Kikaku. Let me see how fast this looks. Oh my god. Okay, that is a lot faster than I was thinking they would have made that. The Kikaku will still have the energy efficiency though, so like but you can now choose. Do you want to have the ability to QB more evasively, or do you want to just be pure offense booster, in which case you'll use the Kikaku. Wow. Very interesting change. They might as well just get rid of the Gridwalker's melee thrust, to be honest. It's not like it actually needs any use. But this has become a much better generalist for builds that use melee punish, for example. Maybe not melee builds as much because it's still a little too expensive. I think that the Kikaku still even needs some buffs in melee thrust efficiency, but yeah, wow, that is really that thrust as well is going to be really helpful. Plus, you've got really good upward thrust now. Only 1 or 0.1 seconds vulnerability because you got when you're QBing consecutively because you got a 40-second duration, a tenth of a second, and then you've got your QB reloaded. So that is substantially better than the basically quarter second of the Kakaku. I'm gonna play around with this a lot. This, I guess the question is the ABEN consumption, is giving that up going to be worth it? I think for my Coral Blade, definitely, because I don't really use AB nearly as much as my double melee, but for shield melee, this, I'm going to play around with this, guys, and I will let you guys know if this works, as I think it is, but that's my prediction for the Flugel. It's now going to become an excellent melee punish build. Booster, and for melee builds that do not need the AB portion, this will probably be a little bit better in slot. Better evasion, more powerful QBs, better thrust passively, which is a big weakness of the Kikaku, and upward EN is much more efficient, which is one thing that these builds tend to struggle with, chasing down Rensetsu kites, for example. Oh, what's the AB thrust difference? That's going to be notable too. Substantial. Okay, we got a pretty good. What's our new max AP speed? Wow, way faster. What the? Most of the Kakakus float around 450. We got an extra 25 boost speed. If I ditch my missiles, can I get any faster? Not really, but okay. Yeah, I am excited for this, guys. This is probably my favorite change next to the tank nerf. Holy moly. Continuing on, Gil's got a buff. Perfect, because I have another build that uses these. My Kranich build. So the booster got increased thrust. It's now, wow, it's very close to the Alula. That's perfect. This build, this had no right being slow when it's supposed to be a close range evasive booster. So that is going to make my Kranich build much better, and make the Gills in general just more viable against the Alula. Everybody was just going for Alula. But I think Vientos will see a lot of use in this now. It's got an even smaller window of vulnerability. Look at that, 0.02 seconds. Boost speed is marginally slower. QB energy consumption is much better. Well, I mean, not much better, but notably better. You won't have the AB though, but you'll have some melee option. Or sorry, you won't have the melee option, but you'll have better AB. Oh, no, never mind. Scratch that. You'll have better ABE and consumption, but I don't think that's going to be dramatic enough to make a difference. So it looks like it's basically just about the kiting ability has now been improved on this. The Alula will be a bit more of a rushdown style, whereas the I think the Gills will now be closer to what Vientos typically do, hovering just at a range and dodging as much as needed in order to get their magazine out. The FCSs, let's take a look here and see what we've got for changes. So the first one looks to be the P10 SLT. So missile lock has been reduced, I believe, on these ones. Okay, so the cap, the hard, like the ceiling has been reduced. I guess that's helpful. I don't really think there was a problem with super powerful missiles that have long lock-on times being too fast. I mean, there's the coral missile, I guess, on them kites, but that's been nerfed indirectly. Same thing for the secondary version here. Ceiling has been reduced, so I think that change was a non, a mean nothing change, but okay. VE21A. So along again, this one's just basically a mid-range. I guess they've made it now so that you don't need to float the line between close and medium so tightly. Now you can float the line between medium and long. Sure, that's fine. I think that's an interesting change. I think you will see this get used now more because having pure long-range specialization was silly. The downside, though, now is your missile lock is horrible. So it's like, I don't know if kiters are going to want to still use that just for the ability to hit them at longer range. Because, I mean, why not just take missiles and hit them at longer range, which they do on the shoulders. So I'll rate that one like a limp change, but maybe might be useful. One that I don't understand, this guy got a buff. Increased close range assist and medium range assist and long range assist. So basically this thing just got a buff in everything other than missiles. Is 60 enough for close range assist? I feel like probably not. That's like the Talbot always felt like it was just not good enough at close range. Then again, this one is medium, but it really does beg the question now, what are they going to do about the Talbot? The Talbot is not that... Yeah, this doesn't really make a lot of sense. Um, yeah, I feel like the WLT, like the cost difference between these two is so marginal. I mean, the Talbot still needs some help from Softs. Come on. I think they need to lift the close range assist on the Talbot just a little bit. Like it needs to go up to like 75. What's the set? Oh, I guess that would dominate this one. Maybe this one needs to be 80. The other one, the Talbot needs to be 72 or 70, like somewhere in that window. But both of these need help with close range assist to make them even viable to contend in that arena. Uh, we've also got the VP20D generator getting a buff. Looks like it is increased EN capacity. Ooh, I'm curious to see if this one could also be a melee edition. Interesting. Okay, so if you really need, if you're running super heavy EN usage and it's crippling your EN supply efficiency, you can take a small cap in your capacity, and also you'll need to expect a longer EN recharge delay. But the, how does the math work out on this build though? Okay, so if I've got a 0.82, I'm just going to do a quick bit of math here on this sample build and see how this plays out. Okay, so let's see if I can get away with the Alba core now though, and swapping this generator, because I always did want this. Okay, let's see what my recharge time is. So I've got 3590 divided by 6258 means I got 0.57 seconds to refill the bar from 0 plus 1.3 second delay. So I got about a 1.9 second recovery. Let's throw on the Santai. Actually, I'm going to adjust it compared to the Mind Alpha here, and see if there's any advantages going lighter and with that EN assistance and sacrificing capacity. So here we've got 4420 divided by 2391. Actually, no, because I purge the missiles when I need efficiency, so let's clear this. 4420 divided by 3079. 1.43 plus 0.82. 2.25. Okay, so this is an interesting change for evasive and melee builds as well. Cool. I think I can make this build run now with the Alba. And we have a little bit less capacity, so we can't melee lunge and psych out as many times. However, the recovery window is net more efficient. Let's see if my EN supply I feel like at this point it's not even going to make a difference. 7,000 versus... Yeah, at this point we're like literally, there's not much more we can squeeze out of EN efficiency to actually get a tangible benefit. We won't ever need to purge the missiles unless we need to punch. I really want this core to work, and I feel like this might be the trick now. That capacity compromise is not enormous. And I think when you factor in the speed buffs... Oh, hold on, I had the wrong booster on. Then again, my EN efficiency is only getting a lift here. 309. Okay, this is also potentially another prediction. This one's going to also function as a decent melee option. A little bit faster delay, or a little bit faster recovery, and you get more back quicker, which means in consecutive fights, or sorry, like failed initiations, but then like re-engaging, I'll be able to boost a lot more. I wonder if this combined with the fluke, this is going to be my new melee build, I can already tell. As like my alternate option with the copter. Pop the shield, be back super quick. We don't want to burn it though. We don't want to burn it. Okay, so I have to actually be careful not to completely drain the battery. Yeah, because I can do that all in one, in basically a shield and a half, or of IG window. Yeah, so it faded right at the end there. So if I just dodge, drain battery, don't pop the shield right away, like this, then pop it, I'll be completely covered. Alright. I like that change. This is very interesting. I'm going to have some fun with this. Moving on though, I'm getting a little excited. Decreased damage from AC system abnormality shock. We already knew that. That's awesome. Shock was quite strong. Alright, let's talk about the tank legs now. So this is huge, guys. I'm going to really quickly go back to my my loaded or my pre-saves here and just show you guys the super awesome change to tanks. Okay, so this is the most common tank chassis that's going for stability. They don't tend to run the Tianquang torso because they like the stats on this one a little bit better. It's got some assistances that they definitely need. Look at the ceiling now. 2600 can instantly stagger break this tank build. So call it 2600 versus if they do go max stability, 2700. Let's look at the melee build that I had there. The double melee one that I know a lot of my viewers really liked. Okay, so we've got the pulse blade, 1200. I wonder if we even need a kick anymore. This is going to be awesome. So 1200 plus the 717 from the javelin plus 600 from the Zimmerman. So that gets us 2515. So yeah, we do need the kick, but I believe we can stagger just over 2600 stability. So as long as they're not running the Tianquang, you can insta stagger with the javelin now with this build. That's huge. Tank, because like honestly, a huge amount of the damage taken when you're versing tanks is when you're engaging them post pulse blade, and you're just trying to finish off the stability. I think that we could also do the Tianquang if we get a Zimmerman shot right as we close the gap into the kick too. So yeah, that'll do it. So we can insta stagger tanks without needing the slicer now, as long as we land the javelin and time it within the combo as well. I'm just going to see if this guidance becomes a problem when I initiate this. Oh, I messed that up, I guess technically I could even just use the slicer like that if there's a hair left. I don't think the javelin had any trouble there. Let me just try that one more time. Okay, I forgot to do the kick. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, FromSoft, for these gifts that you have given us. Perfect. Tanks can be staggered much easier. This guy's got the wrong head, but I don't think it matters.
Concluding evaluation.
Okay, that's a lot of talking, and sorry I didn't throw up the patch notes in the video. I'm just throwing this together really quickly here now, just adding some commentary and some predictions. But yeah, tanks are now insta-staggerable, even if they go max stability, as long as you run a combo build that's built for burst stability, which makes total sense, especially given the firepower they have. Melee has seen an interesting adjustment now with the Flugel combined with that other generator change. That's probably a very significant one. The Viento nerf is huge. They did a lot to really just kneecap a lot of those burst safe builds like Vientos that don't have to actually engage dangerously to get that burst impact. Melee got a couple of helps because they take more risky burst impact approaches, and they've also been given an option to sacrifice some in order to get the ability to disengage a bit better, which I'm going to play with. And yeah, I hope that all these comments and predictions I made are helpful to you. We'll see if I'm right, but I do have a pretty good track record lately, well actually since the game came out, of making calls, and we'll see what happens, but that's my thoughts.